it's Friday. Fridays are fun days, and this is a fun car. This is the Kia Forte GT. I'm a huge fan of it, and I think it's kind of a bit of a sleeper in our lineup. So we're going to go through why I think it's great, and then you can decide if you're maybe a little bit like me, not quite as nerdy, hopefully more hair, but if you're a little bit like me and you like it as well, and if you're not like me and it's not for you, then we'll also help you figure that out in this video as well. So here's the thing. We do these live videos every single weekday at 2 o'clock Eastern time, and if you just want the content of this video, you can skip ahead to the 3-minute mark if you want, and that'll be where we get going with the content. In the meantime, we're going to allow our live audience to join us, and we will show you how to do that as well if you want to join us in a future live video. So let me just jump over here. If you want to join us live, there is what our YouTube channel looks like. You're just going to go there at exactly 2 o'clock on a weekday, and you are going to refresh your page right like that. Refresh the page, and you'll see that that main video is taken over by our live video. We're going to click into that, watch a quick little ad, and while that ad is running, I'm going to run an ad for the 3 dealers that support this channel. That's Brantford Kia, where we're filming today, Brantford Hyundai, and Owen Sound Hyundai. Those are the 3 dealers that support us. And if you're looking to buy a car in Ontario, you can reach out to me through the link that will be in the description as soon as this video is done. And I will connect you up with our sales team, and they will take care of you as if you were my very own family. So there we go. That is my nerdy, weird, poor attempt at a car ad. All right, so let's talk about news and notes. What's going on? I'm waiting on cars. So if anybody from Kia head office is sitting around and watching this, feel free to stop giving me a view and see what you can do about getting me some cars. We had, I think there was 7 cars I was waiting for. We were hoping to see them this week. Haven't seen them yet. So next week's going to be interesting if I don't get that load of cars. So we are doing our best here. There have been some delays in some products, so your sales team should be reaching out to you if you are our team, just explaining which vehicles are delayed. Other vehicles, I think, are on schedule. Some might be even ahead of schedule, so there's that. Somebody says, hi, can I use the turn signal? I absolutely will. And yeah. Somebody says, waiting on the Sportage review. So am I. I'm really looking forward to seeing the 2021 Sportage. Haven't got a whole lot more information on that yet, so once we have it, we'll do more. And I think what it was supposed to be doing is probably have a sort of early March launch, so we'll see if that comes in. And somebody says, hello, the red accents remind me of the N model. Yeah, they do. And there is a difference between this and the Hyundai N model. So we'll talk about that as well. And yeah, I haven't got a whole lot of news and notes at all. And we got 30 seconds to kill. So do me a favor, if you are a regular with us, just hit the like button for me. If you want to just help me get there, it's Friday. I don't probably deserve it yet, but I had a couple rough comments today. So a couple extra likes just for me putting up with that. That'd be great. All right. So here we go, 10 seconds left, and like I said, yeah, we'll have some fun today. We'll see what we can do. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, here we go, 3 minutes in. This is the Kia Forte GT. This is the one to buy. This is the fun one, but it is not full out like the Hyundai N models. Those are more track cars. There's a narrower market that's going to appreciate those cars because they are fairly firm riding. They're more like go-karts on the roads, and they're kind of like street legal track cars. This is a performance version of the Forte, and I like to describe it like this. If you're going down a country road and you want to pass someone, it's just effortless in this car. If you're driving through traffic, and again, you just kind of want to get ahead in traffic, it's effortless. And the way this car handles, it's not punishing as in it's a rough ride, but it's surprisingly good. Keeps you level in the corners, has surprisingly good grip, and it's fun to zip around corners. It's not your typical economy car, but of course it's still gonna get you great fuel efficiency, and it doesn't look overly flashy. It just looks handsome for what it is. It's a car that I'm a huge fan of, and I was a huge fan of it before they updated it for 2022. When they updated it for 2022, we've got new lights and bumpers, new technology, which it needed, and it's got a new rear end as well. All of that is good, because the one reason I suggested people don't buy this, as opposed to something like a Kia Seltos, which shares an engine but not horsepower, shares a transmission, those kind of things. The one reason I suggested to buy the Seltos was just some of that newer technology in the Seltos. And it used to be performance or technology. Now really what you're deciding if you go for something like a Seltos is, do you need the all-wheel drive? Do you like that style? Or is this more your thing? And I think that regardless of technology, even as this car becomes out of date, which every car does eventually, this is a car that will continue to put a smile on your face. And to me, that has value. Somebody says it would be nice with a 2.5 turbo. Yeah, sort of, except that the 2.5 turbo is what I have in my Hyundai Santa Cruz, and that's a lot of power for this car. So that turns it into a full-out performance car. And in my opinion, that would make it that particular car for a narrower market again. This isn't about being the all-out sports car. If you want all-out sports car and speed, this is your car right here. This is the Kia Stinger. It costs a lot more, of course, but this one here is just that enough extra sport that it makes it great. So let's talk about the extra sport that we have. The engine, it is a 1.6 liter turbo engine. It's a 4-cylinder engine with a 7-speed dual clutch. You may have seen the same thing in something like a Kia Seltos. The difference there is this one makes 201 horsepower, where the other one makes about 20, the Seltos makes about 20 less horsepower than this. And this one, compared to a Forte, the rear suspension has been ripped out of it, and this is a multi-link rear suspension. The reason you want a multi-link rear suspension is the twist beam does fine at normal driving, normal handling, normal roads. It's very, very good. Once you get into higher speed corners, if you go beyond the limits of a twist beam suspension, which is the other Forte style, then the rear end can skip just a tiny, tiny bit. This one, because you have fully independent suspension, your wheels are going to move a lot more independently, and they can stay kind of glued to the ground, and it's a slightly firmer ride, but it just glues itself to the ground and makes it fun to toss around corners. And basically, you show up, hey, it's an economy car. I'm not, showing off or anything like that, but it's handsome and functional, and that's what I like about it. It's just a lot of fun to drive. All right, let's look at a couple new things as well. There is your new logo on the key fob. You have remote start now on the key fob, which is really, really nice, because I think today it was like minus 20 or minus 22 when I woke up this morning, Celsius. So that's very, 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 very cold. And remote start is nice to have to warm up the car in the winter. There's all your buttons on the side there as well. And of course, it's no official key. You could pull out the bottom here and use a key in the door, which we could show you in another video. But the idea is you never have to pull this out of your pocket if you don't want to. So let's just jump right in and take a peek at some of the things inside this car. The window does go down all the way. I didn't put it down all the way. I apologize for that. All right, inside, again, hint of sport. Now, what's cool about the Forte now is for 2022, you have the GT line and the GT. GT line is quite similar to this as far as features and options inside. So if you like the features and options inside, but you don't want to pay for the little bit more powerful engine, better suspension, and when I say better suspension, it is a little bit firmer riding. So if you don't want some of that, you can get this interior in a GT line now, which I think is a tremendous value for people who don't value the sport aspect, but like the features of this car. So there is that available to you if you'd like, and if not, that's fine too. So the GT itself, though, red stitching, leather seats. You've got, actually, it's an artificial leather. It's not real leather, which is actually, in my opinion, better than our real leathers. You've got the powered seat with the lumbar support, and you've got good side bolstering. So when you do drive around corners a little quicker, you have a little bit extra, side bolstering to hold you in place, both on the bottom here, which is fairly tall and steep. It's hard to show you the angle, but it's not, sloping in. It's nice and steep, and on the back. So really good there. And our artificial leather, a couple things I like about it is it doesn't seem to get as cold in the winter. Maybe that's just me. It doesn't get as hot in the summer. It also has a little tiny bit of grip to it, which is kind of nice to hold you in place when you're driving athletically. Let's jump in for a second. As we jump in, kind of seen the dash before. This isn't too fancy. We're going to turn it to the on position, but not start it. And you can see you've got some new software in there. That purple color is what Kia is using now. And let me just turn the climate system off for a second. And I'm turning my rump roaster on because it's cold. All right. So you've got this nice color display screen, and you've got updated software in there. So you're really not sacrificing the way you used to in this car by having older stuff. Somebody says, I like the Stinger better. Many people will. Some people like the Stinger, but this fits their budget better. So I'm with you. I like the Stinger, but I think I would drive this every day without any issues at all. So when you go through the software here, you've got a lot of things. Hey, look at that. Fuel efficiency is 0, or very good. So down here, you've got the digital speedometer here. And again, it's a nice color display screen. So it's a true display screen as opposed to just a color dotted screen. It looks pretty sharp. And there's all kinds of information in here, including some of the things like navigation, because you have a large 10.25 inch screen, which is also new here. And when you pull up your navigation, which you can do 100 different ways, we can cancel that for a second. And if you want to throw this out, you can use your navigation up here, or you can send your directions into the dash here and have them up here while you're Bluetoothing your Apple Music up there. So I play Apple Music and it takes over your whole screen just over Bluetooth, which is kind of cool. The one negative to this is you don't have your, wireless Android Auto or wireless Apple CarPlay on the 10.25 inch screen. Why? I've asked Kia and Hyundai that, and the short answer is because you don't. It just isn't something they offer on the 10.25-inch screens, but you can get it on the 8-inch screen. So if you get the smaller screen, it's wireless. If it's not, if it's a larger screen, you do have navigation. One thing I will say about our navigation just lately, it is much improved over previous model years. So I used to be of the opinion that I had to use Google Maps and Apple Maps all the time because I thought they were better. I use my factory nav much more than I used to because it's very, very good. But of course, if you wanted Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you just plug in your phone and off you go with that. So it is quite nice. You can see it's having trouble acquiring satellite radio, and that's because I'm indoors in a radio insulated area. But you do have satellite radio in this car as well. And that makes a nice difference to have AM, FM, and satellite. And you can swipe through various options on the 1/3 screen here if you choose to use this 1/3 screen. So just well-designed layout here. Very quick to react, very nice system here. And of course, the stereo, when you have that Sirius satellite radio, you're listening to Harman Kardon audio, which is, of course, the upgraded audio. Now, if we're comparing to something like the Seltos, this does come in underneath the Seltos SX price, which is the one that would share the engine with this. And the Seltos offers, or does not offer, what this does offer, which is a dual zone temperature control. Now, you're seeing glare in your screen here. It's partly the angle I'm holding it on. It's also because you have one eye on the camera and I have two eyes. I don't see any glare here at all from my own view, so I don't know how to replicate that for you, but there's no real glare at all. I can clearly see this display screen where obviously I can't film it very well. But it's nice to have dual zone temperature controls because you can set the passenger and driver to different temperatures, and that just makes sense. The other way to keep the driver and passenger comfortable is rump roasters and ventilated seats. If you want to have some fun with somebody in the winter, turn on their ventilated seats and watch them freak out. It doesn't happen right away, but it'll eventually happen, and it makes it for a very, very cold seat. You can do the same thing with heated seats in the summer, and so that's kind of nice. So heated and ventilated seats on the driver and passenger side here up front, and you've got the heated steering wheel as well. I should also mention, if you want to keep your rear passengers comfortable, we'll get to the rear seat a little bit later in this video, but they also have rear heated seat bottoms, so everyone's comfortable in here. Speaking of staying comfortable, sometimes you want to preheat the car and you're not within not within range of the remote start for the key fob. You can use your cell phone because this means it has UVO Intelligence / Kia Connect, and it's called UVO Intelligence in the head system. It's called Kia Connect on the app. I guess they're working on upgrading all of that. Anyways, when you have that, you can do things like call for a tow, you can call for an emergency, and you can remote start the car from your cell phone, which means you don't have to be in the range of the key fob. Down here, this is another nice improvement they brought to this car. Lane follow assist is a big thing. Lane follow assist is so much more precise than lane keeping assist. It works at a variety of much more speeds than lane keeping, and it keeps you centered in the lane. Basically what it does, if you want to have the car center itself in the lane, that's what it can do. Now, this is one of those cars where I want that button on the steering wheel because sometimes when I'm going down the highway, I just want the car to sort of work with me to help keep it centered in the lane all on its own. So again, it can sort of steer for itself, keep it centered in the lane. But when you come off on that entrance ramp, you want to tap that button off because you want to kind of hug the lines inside and outside. And that'll allow you to set it on to do that and just make it really fun to drive. Now, let's talk about fun to drive stuff. Paddle shifters here on the driver and passenger side of the steering wheel, or driver and passenger side of the steering wheel, so plus and minus, you can switch gears that way. You have a 7-speed dual clutch, which again, if you want to switch gears on your own, you can switch gears from down here as well if you want to do that. You also have your drive mode, so that's normal, sport, and smart, so you can cycle through those. The sport mode really does keep you in the revs, makes it a little bit more fun. And then there's a super controversial piece. There is a sound enhancer. So this car legitimately has front to back a different exhaust than some of the other Fortes, and it does sound cooler. It just sounds more burbly. It has little pops and that kind of thing. It's not Veloster N kind of obnoxiously loud, which is fun and makes you giggle, but doesn't make your neighbors giggle. But it does have a lot more character, and it sounds pretty cool. But the sound enhancer on this, what it does is it enhances the exhaust sound, the intake exhaust type sound, inside the car. It's fake. Lots of cars do this. We just advertise it. Lots of cars do this. Lots of performance cars do this. And the reason you have that is because the insulation of a car, the sound insulation of a car, if you look around, what it does is it takes out certain frequencies better than other frequencies. So it just fills in the sound that's missing, and it just makes it fun. So you can hear inside the car what the exhaust sounds like outside the car clear, because it sort of balances out that sound. And it just sounds fun when you're revving it up through gears and just having some fun. So it's all about fun, but not reckless, abandoned Veloster N fun, just stepped up and makes you grin kind of fun. So that's there. Wait, can the enhancer be toggled? You know what? Let's find that out. That's a good question. Let's skip back to our home over here, and we'll see if we can get to the setup in the system and see if we can toggle that. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, and I don't remember where. So let's figure out. Is it under convenience? Probably not. It is not. Is it under cluster? Probably not. I don't. Oh no, that's a welcome sound. Not climate, lights, no. Door, no. You know what? I don't think it can be. So, oh, we'll just try one more menu item in here. So I don't think you can play with it. I think it is what it is. On the Stinger, for instance, which also has a similar system, you can, yeah, so there's a good question. On the Stinger, you can turn that on or off. On this car, I don't see it here. I'm just gonna double check again. No, we can go through sound here. No, oh, hold on. No, it does not have that section. Oh, driver assistance. No, so it does not have that. That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. And when we do these live videos, we check for that. So it is just kind of on. Again, it's not obnoxious, but it just fills in the sound that really the sound insulation takes away. Sunroof above me. We've already gone 15 and a half minutes. So here's what we're going to do. We got 68 people on. Let's just go for it. Let's see if we can get to 70 likes today. I'm going to go take your questions now, and then we're going to come back through here. We might even come back to the driver's area if you want, but maybe we won't. We'll see. We'll work rear seat, trunk, lighting. There's some differences there, and we'll keep going through and answer your questions. So do me a favor, guys. If we all hit the likes button together right now, it'll sort of, a whole bunch of people will join us in a second. So we're going for, what was it, 68 likes? I think we said 70 likes. Let's go for 70 likes. Does it have a manual transmission? In 2022, it does not. In 2021, before the update, it did. And we here at Brantford Kia sold 0 of those. The manual transmission, you guys don't buy it. And I didn't buy one, and you didn't buy one. And that's why we don't have one here in Canada any longer on this trim. So you can still get a manual transmission Forte, but not the GT, which is a bit of a shame. Oh, my light just turned off on it. Let's see if we can go fix that again. Walking by here. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna go take your questions right now, and then we're gonna continue to look back at this car. Lots to show you still, and a couple little things that you may not know that you may appreciate. So, all right. All right, so somebody said, yeah, not a deal breaker without the manual, I think, or not a deal breaker without the sound, but yeah. Yeah, the sound enhancer you can't toggle, not a deal breaker, that's true. All right. I think it does show weather since there's an option to display hazardous weather. Yeah, you can look at weather. So keep in mind this building that we are in used to be like a radio building, and it used to insulate radio signals. So in here we have trouble sometimes getting satellite radio, some of the information, the HD radio. So there's a number of things that we have trouble getting from here. All right. You can get the Seltos without all-wheel drive. You can get the Seltos without all-wheel drive, but then you can't get this engine. The only way to get this engine and transmission in the Seltos is with all-wheel drive. This one you would have to give up all-wheel drive, obviously, but you gain a whole lot of driving fun. It's a very, very good car. Really trying to decide between the Forte and the Seltos. Even the Rocky Mountain region, not convinced I need all-wheel drive. I would suggest, okay, so here's the thing. If you want all-wheel drive, if you don't like driving in the winter and you have to drive in the winter, all-wheel drive is great. If you're comfortable driving in poor weather, throw winter tires on this in the winter, and you've got great traction. You do have less ground clearance, and four wheels are great when you're in deep, deep snow, but most of the time, if they're clearing the roads for you, you're probably gonna enjoy this more. I'm not saying you should get one over the other, but I do say that sometimes we overvalue all-wheel drive for some people. Now, I will say that with a big disclaimer that on Monday, I have a Santa Cruz, and my Santa Cruz got out of my road, and there were a lot of cars that could not get out of the road. I had my neighbors have an Audi SUV that could not get out even with all-wheel drive. So there are scenarios where all-wheel drive and ground clearance matter, but not for everybody. So, all right. I gave you a like even though you hinted unicorns weren't real. I didn't say they weren't real. I just said that nobody I know has seen one yet. All right. 2023 Nero redesign. Let's just finish on this car and we'll get back to the off-topic questions in just a second. So go ahead and ask those off-topic questions if you want, but give me a second to come back to them. Does factory nav show traffic and road conditions? Yes, the new factory nav does show that. So yeah, there's that. How's the trunk compared to the Forte 5? We will show you the trunk. I don't have a Forte 5 yet. I've seen one, but I haven't been able to get it on video yet. So once we have a Forte 5 here, we'll do the exact comparison that you're looking for, and we'll get that going. So I think somebody said, oh, where's my Kia jacket? Yeah, you know what? I had my Kia jacket on, and then I just decided I wasn't as comfortable in it, and I took it off. So I know it's been popular for you guys, but I don't know. Sometimes it's like kind of in between temperature here, inside. All right, let me go show you trunk space first. There's a lot of ways to open the trunk. I'll do the fun way, which is this way right here. You can just hold the button. You can see it's a little trunk button right there where it says hold. We're gonna hold that down right here, and there you go. Trunk pops, and if the car is level, it pops right up. Now, on this one, people have asked me, why is there only one speaker on the side? That's actually your subwoofer. So the reason there's only one speaker is that kind of gives you your bass. In here, if we look under the floor, you see a ton of space. So this is something that a lot of people would like a spare tire. If you want a spare tire with this car, just get it. You can get it as an accessory. Just tell them that when you're doing the deal, they'll put it right in the deal for you. Kia says they don't put it in there to save weight and add fuel efficiency. We all know they didn't put it in there because it saves them costs, and they just pass it on to you if you want. If you don't want it, if you're traveling, there's a lot of space in that big underfloor area. So I want to point out that there is a significant amount of space that people forget to use when they're loading their trunks or whatever. So there's a lot of space there. The seats do fold down as well. But even if they don't fold down, the benefit of a sedan is, get my little teddy bear here, put him all the way back. This is a 2 teddy bear trunk. Now, where else do you get a 2 teddy bear trunk? Something like the Kia Sorento. So again, if you had to stack things taller, you need an SUV. But if you have to stack things longer, this has a longer load floor than something like the Kia Seltos, which I think makes it a really good option for people because you can easily fit a second Teddy in here, maybe a little squishy with his arms, but there's pretty good space in there. And again, that underfloor space there, a lot of people forget about. So we're gonna take Teddy back out of here, and we'll leave it there. I haven't shown you the rear seats yet, so let me just jump in the rear seats as well because, oh yes, some of you are asking certain trims and options. The Forte in particular, all the technology I talk about is the same in Canada and the States, but the Forte in particular, they do package a little bit differently than in Canada and the States. We tend to get heated seats earlier, heated steering wheels earlier in our lineup, and you guys don't have that. Not my thing, but we film in Canada, so I gotta film the cars that we have. All right, let's jump in the rear seats. And remember, we did talk about the rear seats having heated seats, rump roasters for the win. Oh, they don't turn on because the car's off. 2 levels of rump roasting. And again, in this car, seat bottom only for the rump roasters, which is what they used to do in luxury cars when I was growing up. But, you know, jumping in here, compared to a Seltos, you are going to sit a little lower. You are going to have a little bit less headroom. I'm 6 feet tall. I have enough. Like, it's pretty good. It's pretty comfortable here. You do have an armrest. Not every Elantra has an armrest, so, you know, sort of a direct competitor. You do have an armrest in this trim level here. And again, being that they have just the artificial leather in here, just a little cooler. It's nice to have those rump roasters in there to make you comfortable. Overall, legroom space. My legs are on the seat here, which is what I like. I have good knee room here, and in a car of this size, I like to have the plastic back seats. If you have kids in cars, and if you have kids in booster seats or something like that, their feet are gonna touch right here. If this is cloth, it's going to be dirty for the next, well, if you just have a newborn, 6 years of your life, maybe 7. But then beyond that, you're fine, right? Well, in this car, you just take a damp cloth, wipe it down, and you're clean. Now, one thing I don't like is flipping around. Oops, come on, camera. Flip it around there. The passenger side has a nice usable pocket. The driver's side does not. That goes back to map book days when we used to put map books in cars because you didn't have a GPS and you had to make sure the driver could reach it. This is just a throwback that there's no reason to cheap out versus putting one on both sides. There's a good reason to have a pocket on both sides. Why not just do it? Now, again, I say that, and some people never use the pockets, and maybe it is what it is. There are cup holders in the armrest, but also in bottle holders in the door there. And coming around, you do have vents in this car. A lot of cars don't have the center vent here. They have usually underfloor seat vents as well, but they don't have these. This one has the vents. Of course, you can turn them on and aim, and a single USB port there. So a nice back seat here, you know, usable for a family. And again, pretty easy to get in and out of as well. So not a truly small car. These cars, you know, were mid-size. This size car was mid-size in the previous years. Somebody asked me earlier, will I turn the signals on? So I will do that. We're still going for 70 likes. I'm getting a little nervous here. We got like 52. So if there's anybody who's got a like to leave, go ahead and leave it. And like I said, I had a rough comment day this morning. And, you know, I'm asking for comments or likes whether I've earned them or not today. All right. So let's turn that on. Some people are just mean online. You'd never believe it. All right, let's flip over here. Signal lights in the mirrors. Typical stuff. You don't get that on every trim level of every car, though, so sometimes you have to move up. Here's our new headlights on this new Forte, and overall the grille is all new. So you used to have sort of a fire-breathing red tooth to the grill. They continued that on here, but a whole different look to it. You've got your new logos there. It's pretty cool. And again, some red tinging out there. So on the GT and the GT line, you have some redness in there that makes it look pretty cool. But the GT here is the top line with the engine, with the better engine, 1.6 liter turbo. Down here, you've got bright lights. Those, whoops, hit my camera there. Those lights that are flickering there when I do that, they don't flicker in real life. Those are your daytime running lights, very EV6 looking. So if you drive down the road with this and you have this sort of in someone's rearview mirror, when Kia's new EV6 comes out, it's going to look very similar to this with the three lines there. When you turn your signal on, those upper ones turn into bright amber LED lights there. Now the color doesn't show perfectly on camera. The camera has trouble adapting to it there, but that's a nice bright amber. I like it a lot. Coming around the side here, take a look. Rear taillights, they also, excuse me, they also echo the front lights there. So that's pretty cool the way that works. And the only controversial thing that you guys don't like, signal lights are still down there. Now you do have separate signal lights. They are amber, which is what a lot of people like to see. Excuse me, guys. I'm fine. It's not what you think it is. We're good here. All right. The amber light is down low. Some of you guys don't like that. It is what it is. Exhaust is pretty huge. They look pretty cool, dual side there. And you have the diffuser down there with some red trim down in the back as well, and the GT badging. So there we go. Are the LED lights standard on every trim level? Yes. I have not seen the new models without LED lights, so I believe they are now standard on every trim level because that is a big advantage here compared to the Elantra. The Elantra, you have to add them along the way, whereas I believe they are standard on every trim level here. So there we go. Somebody says, Pablo says the turning signal is too low. Okay, it is what it is. I don't know. That's just where they put them. It's not a safety issue, guys. We've talked about that a number of times on these videos, and we've talked about why. So we could do that in some other day, but it's just not a safety issue. It is a styling issue that I would prefer. It's up in the cluster as well. I'm with you guys on that, so, but I won't argue. All right, let me just see if I can go back to your comments here. Peter's fed up with the turn signal complaint. He's just over. Here's the thing with the turn signal thing. It's not a safety issue, and we can argue that some other time. And I didn't design it. So sometimes I get murdered in the comments after the live videos. It should be done this way. Yeah, okay, it should be done that way. I'm with you. I'd like a different spot, but it is what it is. Okay, somebody said they don't mind the bumper taillights. There you go. Do the taillights connect? Oh, no, they don't. So the taillights, this is your headlights on, so your taillights. So through here, there is a chrome piece that reflects a little bit, so it looks like they're lit. But it is just a mirrored finish through there. So it's hard to film. I can see it much, like that's sort of how I see it a little clearer, even better. So there's very much a visual connection between the two, but it is not a lit connection. So good question. But yeah, they're not it's not actually a connected thing there. I'm glad you asked that because sometimes I forget to point that stuff out when they do connect. So there we go. What's the MSRP and is this a GT2? So we're in Canada. Your MSRP, the best thing to go is to go to your website. In Canada here, this is $29,999, I believe, MSRP, and that's Canadian dollars here. So you guys would have to check in the state. Somebody says lies, you're the one that designed it. That'd be cool, eh? All right. Somebody says they like the, is it like the K5? Yeah, sort of the taillights, no. How dare you make people feel bad for their comments? Hey, my channel, I do what I want. All right. Whatever happened to silver? Well, this isn't silver. This is the, it's not the gravity gray. It is the, let me just find out. Oh, I don't remember the color of the gray. It's the other gray. Steel gray. This is the steel gray, not the gravity gray. I don't know. Silver kind of had its thing, and I think it's moving on. There's a lot of grays now, though. Does the GT shutter at crawling speeds? Okay, so this is a popular thing that happens. This is a dual clutch transmission. So if you've ever driven a manual transmission and you remember somebody releasing the clutch and hitting the gas and they're, sometimes they're jerky, right? And sometimes they're smooth. So a dual clutch transmission works mechanically like a manual transmission. So some people say it shudders. I wouldn't say it shudders. I would say there is a slight different feeling in first gear pulling away if you crawl really slow in first gear. Normal traffic, you wouldn't really notice it. And more people notice it in reverse because you're crawling really slowly in reverse, where it kind of like the clutch engages and disengages. And if you've ever driven a manual transmission, you go like, oh yeah, that's the exact same as a manual transmission. Some people don't like the automatic dual clutch transmissions because they have a little bit of a different feeling to that launch, that very, very slow, gradual acceleration in first gear and in reverse gear. It's just different. It's not a bad thing, and I don't think it bothers most people. But because it's different, people describe it in various ways and think there's something wrong with it, and that's just not the way it is. It is what it is. I don't find it shudders or does anything weird at all. It's just a little bit different. And the reason you have that transmission is two things. One, it's a very quick shifting transmission. Two, it's very efficient transmission, and it gives you 7 ratios, which is kind of nice for driving. So I don't know what's going on, but you guys are making some sort of comment about my clothing. Remember, I'm the mannequin, right? They just dress me up, and that's how I go to work every day. All right, let's go down here. Can I do the review of the Tucson N-Line? I think I did that a week and a half ago, so feel free to search Kia Hyundai channel, Tucson N-Line, and I have done it, and I will do it again. So feel free to watch it, comment on it if you have some questions, and we'll get it back in here again. Somebody says they like the new facelift design. So do I. I will say it's not as drastic as I would have wanted, but it is a very nice update in the front and the rear. And the bigger thing is that new design hints that there is some new technology inside. And it really brings this vehicle up to date as far as the technology that was needed in this class, in this car. And it becomes sort of great. Does it have an ion air filter, clean air filter? I don't believe so on this car. It's not labeled in the dash anymore, so I don't believe it does. How well do the ventilated seats work? I'm very glad you asked that question. So ventilated seats, what they do is some people call them air-conditioned seats, and they are not air-conditioned seats. So ventilated seats is the correct term. That's what the question was asked. It pushes air through the seat, and it takes the cool air from underneath the seat, behind the seat, and blows it through. The one thing that most other brands that I drive, the ventilated seats, not everyone, but most of them, all they do on a hot day is kind of take the heat out of the seat. They make the leather bearable to sit in. These ones on our cars actually blow enough air to literally cool you down. They feel like cool seats. So the ventilated seats work very well in our vehicles, and that's something worth pointing out. Again, a lot of competitors, even luxury cars, they just kind of take that heat out of the seat. And with the 3 levels of ventilated seats, if all you want is to take the heat out of the seat, level 1. Level 2 makes it a little cooler. Level 3 actually cools the seat once you get the inside of the car cool, because again, it's blowing that hot air in the car. So cool down the inside and it brings it right there. So it's very good. Get this man is stylish. What are you gonna do? You gonna style my hair? You can still make fun of my fashion here. I'm sure you're not making fun. I'm okay with it. Somebody says the Elantra's too pointy looking. Yeah, this is probably a little more mainstream look than the Elantra. I'll give you that. I live in Arizona right now. The ventilated seats are just there, but come summer, I'm going to be glad I have them. Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't use them as much. In Canada, you don't use them at all right now, but they're nice in the summer. Off topic, but why hasn't Hyundai put a recall? Oh, I don't know. Oh, if your entertainment system is freezing, go see your dealer. I know that they have had an issue with a Santa Fe with the dash cluster, but if you're having an issue with something like that, just go see sometimes the entertainment system, if it has a problem like that, your service department can just reset it and it works. Keep in mind, all those things are computers. Sometimes just like a control-alt-delete type system, that's all you need and they can work out. So we can help you out with that. There we go. I know somebody asked me some off-topic questions earlier and I don't remember what they are. So other than the fashion advice, which you guys are clearly giving me that I'm skipping over and I will read after this video is done, go ahead and ask me those off-topic questions that I probably forgot to answer and I'll try to get to you. Oh, 360 camera. No, this Forte does not come with a 360 camera. So to do that, it would need a camera in the front grille, 2 on the side mirrors, and it doesn't have that. It's never had it in the past, and I don't expect it to have it in this generation of cars. So not something you can get on the Forte. Although visibility is pretty good in this car, in the rear camera. The one area you can't see very well is the rear tailgate area, which of course has the rear view camera. 2023 Nero, that's right. I do remember you asked about 2023 Nero. I forgot what you asked about it, but when is it coming? Long story short is it's not announced in Canada yet. I am following it sort of online, but I have no Canadian information to share, no real information. I'm quite looking forward to seeing that car. I think the styling with that black panel out the back is going to be controversial for some, but to me that car looked dated the day it came out. So the new one looks up to date right away, so I'll do that. Do I do driving videos? We had planned to start that as early as this month. Being very short on cars, it's been very, very messy roads right now, so we will be doing some driving videos that I will incorporate in here. And the way I'm going to do those driving videos is I'm going to take every car down the same. Hey, we're back. Sorry guys, we lost you there for a bit. At least I lost you for a bit. I do apologize for that. Video froze. Yeah, we're back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Internet, we'll figure it out. Yeah, it did freeze. Sorry about that, guys. Somebody asked me some question earlier. Are all the EV6s sold out? I don't know if all the EV6s are sold out, but they're going to be close. So if you want to buy an EV6, you can reach out to us. We've sold 30 plus here, 35-ish or so already. So there's a process to doing that. So if you're into an EV6, watch my EV6 video and then reach out to me. We'll talk about that. So there is that. New Elantra GT hatchback in Canada, won't see it. At least haven't heard about seeing it, don't expect to see it. I think we're gonna leave it there, guys. We're about 35 minutes in. We hit 73 likes, hit our goal. I wanna thank you guys for that. And I have no idea what I'm doing next week, but we are gonna get a little bit more creative and do some interesting stuff. You guys have been asking about Kia Hyundai classes. We're gonna jump into those next week. There's a lot of stuff I wanna get done, shorter stuff. So those are the shorter videos, probably easier to watch for most people. We'll be doing that as well. If you have questions about the way your car works, let me know in the comment section of these videos and I will do my best for that. What the answer about driving it lagged? Oh, the answer with driving, if the lagging thing, the transmission's different. It doesn't always do that, and I've never had an issue with it, is the short answer. I drive my own vehicle, has a dual clutch transmission. It's sitting right over there, not that one, that's a Tesla, that's the boss. Mine's behind it there. Mine has a dual clutch transmission. It's different, but not bad. So I think it's people said it. Website says the Kona is sold out. Okay, I'll double check on that. I haven't updated. I don't have an update on every single car. What happens is the allotment for certain cars is sold out, and then they switch it to the next model year, and off we go again. Okay, so we'll leave that there, and I want to thank everybody for watching, and have a safe weekend. We'll see you again on Monday.